Hi everyone, it's Rachel back with the Shades of Orange. Today I'm here to do a book haul. I think I have a good variety of genre. Of course, there is a lot of horror here, but I also have some thrillers, a true crime book, as well as a couple fantasy books I'm going to sneak in at the end. All that being said, let's get started. First, let's talk horror. And I received a copy of The Toll by Cherie in a Nightworms package. And this is one I haven't read yet, but definitely want to. This follows a pair of newlyweds that are going on their honeymoon when they are traveling along a road that narrows to a bridge. They get out and the woman disappears. I've heard this described as a Southern Gothic tale, but with a contemporary twist, and I'm very much intrigued. I don't know a lot about Southern Gothic fiction in general, and I've never read Cherie before, but I think this is a good place to start. I've heard a couple good things online about this, so if you have read this one, definitely weigh in and let me know if you think this will be up my alley. Also in a Nightworms package, I received a copy of Halloween Fiend by C.V. Hunt, and this is a novella about a town named Strange that has a creature called Halloween that every night goes door to door asking for its treats, otherwise it will perform tricks. And as you can probably guess from that synopsis, this book is perfect to read around Halloween. I have already read it and it was a lot of fun. I'm really excited that I have a copy of this because I don't often buy novellas in physical form because they are kind of expensive for the page count, but this one has an absolutely gorgeous cover that hopefully you can see there. I love the skeleton and the face up at the top. That pumpkin head is something that I really like, and I'm definitely excited to have this one. I could definitely see myself rereading it every October. As well, I received a copy of October Days by Bradbury. This also came in a Nightworms package. And this is a collection of short stories that I know nothing about. I definitely know the author. He has written one of my favorite classics, Fahrenheit 451. And so I'm really happy that this collection is in the same edition as the copy I would like to get of Fahrenheit 451. I really need to read more by him. And this collection, I'm just not overly familiar with the stories in it, but I really have been enjoying short fiction this year. If you haven't noticed, I've just become obsessed with it once again. So I'm hoping to check this one out. It's supposed to have kind of Halloween fall feel, so hopefully I get to it sooner than later. And speaking of Halloween feels, I also have a copy of Haunted Nights, which is an anthology edited by Datlow. And this is a collection of stories that all take place on Halloween. I talked about this in my October TBR, and I am filming this a couple weeks before you're going to see this. So right now I am in the middle of it. I've read about 3 short stories, so I'm enjoying it, but I'm still kind of waiting for a story that really gives me that Halloween atmosphere. But stay tuned, I'll definitely report back once I'm finished with a proper review. Now, while I'm on a roll, I might as well talk about a few more short story collections. The next one I received is Other Voices, Other Tombs, which is edited by John Brhel and Joseph Sullivan. This I received from the publisher Cemetery Gates Media, and this is one I have already reviewed, and I'm so happy I got to check it out because this collection has so many amazing authors in it, everyone from Keelan Patrick Burke to Anya Alborn, as well as Michael Wehunt. As I mentioned, have already done a review, and you can definitely go check it out. I'll try to put some links in the description box here. But otherwise, if you haven't checked it out, I do recommend it. My 2 favorite stories are first by Anya Alborn. She did this really creepy story about video baby monitors. And as someone with a video baby monitor, I gotta say, those things glitch out like mad. I have put my son down in his crib, closed the door, turned on the app, and I have looked at an empty crib. It's the most disturbing thing you will ever see. And so that story definitely hit home for me. As well, I loved a story by a fellow booktuber, Cameron Chaney. He wrote a story that is basically the horror version of The Parent Trap, and it's so much fun. So for those 2 stories alone, as well as several others that I enjoyed, I would recommend this collection. It was a lot of fun. And I also have 2 more short story collections to show you. They kind of go hand in hand. One of them is Tales from the Shadow Side by Jonathan Janz, and the other one is A Little Sorrow Talk by Brian Keene. And these are 2 that I received in the same Nightworms package that were done as an exclusive publishing agreement with Thunderstorm Books. Each of these books was only published 350 times and they are signed and beautiful, and I've been meaning to read them and I haven't read either of them yet. I so rarely get to get signed books, let alone exclusive signed books. So very excited to have these, and I really need to get to these soon. So hopefully that will happen in the next few months. Now, I also have one young adult horror novel to show you, and that is Rules of Vanishing by Kate Alice Marshall. And this is about a young girl whose sister has gone missing a year ago, and she is trying to find her. Within their town, there is a lore or myth about a girl that went missing years ago in those same woods. And supposedly, if you do the right things and you follow the right steps, a gate will open and you can possibly find those missing people. This is a book that is part horror, but almost reads like magical realism. And it kind of has a found footage feel because a lot of the story is told from the perspective of someone going through documents and recounting the information and media that was pulled off of these teenagers' phones. So if that sounds up your alley, you might want to check it out. For me, my biggest complaint is that it definitely read like a young adult novel intended for a much younger audience. Some young adult horror works for me, but I just felt too old to be reading this one. I think I would have liked it a lot when I was 14, but it just didn't work for me at 30, unfortunately. Now I want to talk about a couple of indie horror titles. The first one being A Slasher Crusher by David Nora. I actually did a separate review on this one, which you can check out down below. And this is about a pair of girls that used to be friends and are now enemies. The story takes place on Halloween when a man has just broken out of a mental institution and is going on a killer rampage. And this is basically a horror comedy set in the style of Halloween. And I love the premise, but really didn't like the execution. I don't want to come across as a prude, but I found this book to be very crude and vulgar, and it just really rubbed me the wrong way. But it might work for other people, but for me, it was a big miss and I just really didn't like it. So that one was unfortunate because I was really excited when I heard the premise. I thought it could be a new favorite, but it really wasn't. Next, I have a book called Fat Camp by James Sabata. This is another one I received in a Nightworms package, and it is about an overweight teenager that goes to a camp in order to lose weight. However, a slasher is on the loose. You know that I love slasher fiction, so it's definitely one that I do want to check out when I'm in the right mood for something like this. The cover is absolutely ridiculous. Like, it's just crazy. I don't know if the author illustrated it himself or what, but it's crazy. I'm curious to check this one out. I've heard that it has very good body representation in it. It's supposed to be very body positive, which is something I definitely look for in my fiction. And if I do get a chance to read it sooner than later, I'll of course be coming back with another review. As well, I received a copy of Zombie Run by Dwayne Perkins and Koji Stephen Sakai. This I received from the publicist, and this is about a pair of humans that are trying to survive in a zombie apocalypse. And in order to do so, they are trying to blend in with the zombies. They eventually find each other and possibly fall in love. I've heard that this is a bit of a horror comedy, which I am a little bit hit or miss on, but I do love a good zombie story. I kind of call them my popcorn reads. They're sort of comfort reads when I just need something light and fun. Some people read beachy things. I read zombie books. It's kind of what I do. So if I do get a chance to check this out, I will let you know what I think. Now, just recently, I finally got rid of all my wedding stuff, which is embarrassing because I got married over 8 years ago. But this summer, I donated it all to a local thrift store. And as a promotion for donating stuff, they gave me a coupon for 1 free book. So naturally, I picked something up. And I found a copy of The Ruins by Scott Smith. I've already read this. I read it a couple years ago and very much enjoyed it. It's a story of a group of teenagers that are vacationing in Mexico. They wander away from the resort. They find some Mayan ruins and things go terribly wrong. This one has some fantastic body horror. It's a super fast read and I'm excited to have a copy of it. I don't mind that it's the movie edition. I haven't watched the movie, but it's the same edition that I read through my library, and I just think that it's kind of nice. I'm not a big fan of the hardback edition. I just don't really like hardback books, so I'm excited to have this, and the price is right because it was free, which is always a bonus for me because I'm kind of cheap and don't spend a lot of money on books. Now I have one one true crime book to show you, and that is The Killer Across the Table, written by John Douglas and Mark Olshaker. This is one that I received in a Creepy Crate box back when I was a rep for them. And this is all about serial killers. It is written by the people that inspired the TV show Mindhunters. I've watched part of the series and I do enjoy it. I need to get back to it. Story of my life. But I've heard good things about the book. I believe Julie from A Girl at a Book has read this one and really enjoyed it. I've heard that it's quite accessible. Sometimes I find that true crime books can be overly dense and detailed. Does anyone else have that same experience? But this one's supposed to be very readable and I do want to check it out, so I will keep you posted. Now I have a few mysteries and thrillers to show you, starting with Nothing More Dangerous by Alan Eskens, and this is an ARC that I received from the publisher Canada Hachette Group, and I was so excited to get this because if you don't know, Alan Eskens is one of my favorite, possibly my all-time favorite true crime author, and I've read all of his previously published books and love them, so I was very excited for this one. This follows a woman who goes missing and is possibly being accused of stealing from the place that she worked, and this book really deals with a lot of racism. I have not yet reviewed this on my channel, but I have read it. You're gonna get my full review very soon. I'll say that it's less of a mystery than I expected, and it's more about the town and their feelings on race. And it just wasn't quite what I expected. It's very different than his other books, so stay tuned for my thoughts. It was a little different than I expected. Now, another ARC that I received was Dead Girls Club by Damien Angelica Walters. This was one of my most anticipated books for the rest of 2019, and I have already read it. I have already filmed my review. You're gonna have to wait for it because this book does not come out until December 10th, so I'll probably wait until a week or two before then, but I liked it. And yeah, just stay tuned. So I'm gonna leave it there and be a little bit mysterious. Now, I also have a duology that I received from the publicist Creative Edge. The first book is The Line in Between by Tosca Lee, and the second book that completes the duology is A Single Light by Tosca Lee. The second book just came out in September. I'm currently reading through book 2. This is a bit of a thriller that blends together different genres. It's set in a post-apocalyptic world and follows a woman that has just left a cult. So if you like cult books, you should check out this series. If you like post-apocalyptic stories, you might want to check out this series. I will say that these books are very addicting. I flew through the first one and I'm getting through the second one very quickly. I'm going to have a review up soon, so stay tuned for that. Finally, I want to talk about the 2 fantasy books that I picked up recently. The first one being Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. I have not yet read this one, but I really do want to. I read a few of his books and really enjoy them. I'm just getting into fantasy quite a bit this year, and I'm just wanting to find even more things that are going to work for me and my personal reading taste. I don't know a lot about this one. The synopsis on the back is pretty vague and is mostly just people blurbing and saying how great Brandon Sanderson is, which is not helpful, but I believe it's about a city of gods that has become cursed and is now in a state of decay. This is his debut published novel, and I've heard that it's not his best, but I have also heard that you should read this one before going into his Stormlight Archive series, and I bought the first book for that, which I showed in a previous haul, so I figured I should check out this one first, hopefully in the next few months, and then I'll be ready to get into his epic series. And the other fantasy book that I picked up is Blood Song by Anthony Ryan. I've heard great things about this, especially from Elliot Brooks. I'll try to link her channel down below. And this is about a young man whose father drops him off at a military school so that he can learn to fight. And I am learning that school settings is one of my favorite things in fantasy books, so I was very much excited to check this one out. It definitely sounds a little bit darker since it's all about learning to fight, and a military school just sounds up my alley for sure. I've heard the rest of the series isn't great, but even if that is true, I'm okay reading this as a standalone because I do that all the time. And I'm just hoping again to get to this one in the next few months, so stay tuned for that. So that's it for this video. Let me know down below what you think of the books I got, which ones should I prioritize for review, as well which ones do you plan to check out for yourself. I would love to hear your opinions. If you aren't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. Otherwise, please give this video a big thumbs up and consider clicking that notification button so that you never miss a video from me. Thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you again soon. Okay, bye-bye.